a playlist original.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster. My name is Gaius Bowling, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This is a redo because we've been having technical difficulties, and I don't want to fake it. So I don't want it to sound like an episode of The Hills where we're recreating a conversation we just had. So here we are once again. What's up, Owen? What's up, Jack?
Third time's a charm. Third time's a charm.
How we doing, Gaius? Looks like you've weren't hydrating at all this weekend. That's for damn sure.
I did hydrate. You have to hydrate. I drank a lot of water and
Mixed with vodka.
mixed with vodka. No, yeah, they're representing me being in Comic-Con over the weekend. I did actually work.
No, you looked like you did a lot, but San Diego looked fun. I was following a lot of other people too. It looked a lot of fun.
Yeah, San Diego was just one big party for this, and I think everyone was just so excited to have it back because they haven't had a full one since 2019. They did have like a kind of a special edition in November of last year that wasn't as big, so this is like a return to form for them. We'll kind of talk about
only, right?
Yeah, so like you're in like when you have a member ID, they put you in like a lottery every year, and the November people were mostly people that either the year before the shutdown or whatever didn't have a chance to go, so they gave them an opportunity to go to Comic-Con, even though it wasn't really like the real one. I don't really think they had any like big celebrities or anything in that November one. It was more of a comic book showcase, which is what the event originally was to begin with.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Yeah.
So this was more of a there were some complaints. We'll talk about it a little later when we get into the thing. There were some complaints about there being more TV than movies at Comic-Con this year. I think there are some reasons for that. There's actually a funny story about I'll just tell it now because it's fresh in my mind. So there's a show called The Rookie on ABC with Nathan Fillion, and the room to get in there was packed because they thought they were going to see like a live panel, and everyone was in there packed in the room, still in line to get in the room. And then this big screen comes on, and it's actually a virtual panel of the cast. They were not there live, and everyone in the room was just like pissed off. So they couldn't really ask. You couldn't even ask questions to them. They were like all pre-approved questions, and people were upset that they weren't informed that it was going to be a virtual panel before they waited in line for an hour and a half. I don't know why you would wait an hour and a half for The Rookie, but some people were very passionate about it. But there was a lot of that.
I mean, is Nathan Fillion like that famous and popular? I mean, who else is in the show? I know they did like a cameo with one of the ladies from Reno 911.
Yeah, Niecy Nash. They spun her off into her own like series. I guess it's coming out in the fall. Her character, Nathan Fillion, has a lot of like sci-fi like goodwill because he was on Firefly and Serenity and all that, and he's part of like the Joss Whedon like crew. So a lot of people like him from all that stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, they were a lot of angry people running out the room like because they weren't told that it was going to be a fucking virtual panel and that the cast was going to be there. They actually had a real moderator like on stage, like a physical one on stage, but like the cast was like pre-recorded somewhere else. It was really strange.
That's strange.
Yeah. There were, I guess there were a few of them that were like that because, some people still aren't ready to go back to big events like this. But yeah, we'll talk about it. There's like a day-by-day breakdown of how things went. Saturday was, of course, the big day. It was the DC and Marvel day. And spoiler alert, one person won over the other, clearly.
And you want to guess who that one was?
Oh, God. I'm just glad they weren't back-to-back. I'm glad that DC's was at 10 a.m. and there was like hours in between before Marvel came on stage. So that would have been embarrassing if they followed each other.
Yeah, that would have been a tough act to follow.
Yeah. But we'll get into it because I know Jack has some stuff to say, especially about the DC stuff. And being there, actually being there to hear everyone's disappointment and everyone expecting certain things to happen. I kind of put this on Warner Media now, on them for not like kind of squashing some of those rumors ahead of.
God damn it!
Yeah.
Read the room, people. God damn it!
They could have read the room like days before. They're not dumb. They see social media. They saw like the groundswell it was building up. Like we ran it as a rumor on Joe Blow. Like we didn't run it as fact, but like it was still like
classic media running rumors. Just
I know.
over the internet.
I know.
All right, well, let's just get into it. The rumor was that Henry Cavill was rumored to make a special.
Henry Cavill.
Whatever. I'm talking.
He's your boyfriend. You gotta get his name right.
He was supposed to show up and re-announce his name as Superman. He still got the cape. Nothing. The only thing I saw were Homelander memes of him like quietly freaking out, hearing voices, and just basically the caption is all of DC fans right now just literally can't internalize how ridiculous. You wanted, like Gaze was saying, like they got their fucking asses whipped by Marvel this on Comic-Con. All you had to do was maybe chalk up maybe half a win was bring back Henry. That was it. That's all I gotta say. You fucked up with that.
The Homelander memes sound good. I mean, that's pretty much an exact interpretation of what Henry Cavill was probably doing, like at his house.
Yep. And you know what? That is a good tease for what's coming later, because there was a lot of like the chatter amongst like the stars and like other people there when he got brought up, when Superman or Henry Cavill got brought up. There was either like a mix of like, well, we're too afraid to bring him up because we don't know if we're supposed to, or they feel passionately about him wanting to like come back or wanting him to come back, and that's not in the cards right now. You can really tell like what the vibe was. But yeah, well,
like to your point, like with The Rock, like there's like multiple clips of like him answering that question. Like half of them, like the first half of the answer where he doesn't know what to say, and then the other half is like him being like, I love Henry. I've known him for a while. Danny Garcia, my executive producer and co-owner of $7, has always been an advocate for him. And I read that as I'm The Rock, and I still don't have that much power right now to give you an answer.
That's how I read it too, because like, you know, he kind of like in different interviews, I know with comicbook.com, he kind of talked around it, but basically said like Henry Cavill is like my Superman. If I had a choice, that's who it would be. And then when he was like in the Hall H room, when a kid asked him like who would win in a fight between Black Adam and Superman, he was very like, he talked around it again, but he said it would depend on who's playing Superman. And it all comes back to Henry Cavill. And you can tell that's what they want. I think everyone that like knows him and like everyone involved in this wants him to be the guy. But that's not happening, it seems, or like are they keeping it? If they're lying, it's stupid, because they really created a really unnecessary, like they really shot themselves in the foot, because this rumor had been out there for days. Warner Media could have saw this. They've been on social media. They're gonna be like, yo, he's not gonna be there. But I think what they thought was, we can build like all this hype for our panel, for our like segment, and like
people in the room.
And no, now all you got is a bunch of people in that room and a bunch of people online angry because you only show them two things. One of them is basically stuff we've seen before. Kind of, there was some more like Justice Society things in that second Black Adam trailer. And yeah, the Shazam Fear of the Gods trailer was good. I enjoyed it. But you can't come with two things like that. And I'm glad we're pivoting and just talking about this first, because I was talking to Sam like offline when he got back, and we were like debating on what they could have brought, because I know the big issue is they couldn't bring the Flash because of issues with Ezra Miller. They were saying that the same thing with Aquaman 2 because of Amber Heard, but she seems like such a small problem that I don't know why they couldn't bring any of that. But then they were like, they just finished shooting Black Beetle, so maybe there's not. They just finished shooting, so maybe there's not. Blue Beetle. Sorry, Blue Beetle. So there's not. Maybe there's nothing to show, really. And then there was Batgirl, which I think is really done filming, and they could have at least. I mean, some people were like, "Yo, give us a title card or something."
Yeah.
Maybe they haven't announced it yet. I think they would have announced it by now.
Yeah, I mean, as the DC stan of this trio, it's a really bad showing. I can't really think of, like, as I said when I texted you guys when I saw the Shazam trailer, you put Eminem in the trailer, like, I'm down. I'm gonna watch it. It was a good trailer. I'm not as gung ho about the two old ladies being. Lucy Lou's not.
Wait, are we calling Lucy Liu old? She's not old.
I didn't say no. Lucy Lou's not old.
And Helen Mirren is a dime.
Whatever. I'm just not down with it. Hopefully it's gonna be.
Are you an ageist? You being an ageist?
I'm not
right
an ageist. I'm just saying, like, Just saying.
I thoroughly disagree with you on that one, Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with.
Hopefully, David Sandberg makes some like good commentary, so that you'll have like good lines. But like, I get it; it's like more of a kids movie than anything else. But like, you're old. I've seen all this Fast and Furious. I'm like, all right, I get it. We got to do that, but better. She better be like very menacing. You know, she better just not just be the daughter of Atlan. Like, you know, I have a magic stick. You know, she better be like badass. That's all I'm hoping for.
Well, Helen Mirren's always badass.
And Lucy Liu, she's always been a badass too. I think this is a great casting. I'm excited to see them as the villains, and I mean, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we didn't get to see. I mean, it was mostly just, the guy who plays Shazam. I mean, that actor.
Zachary.
Yeah. It was basically just Zach just doing his thing for 2.5 minutes. I was really excited. I mean, I kind of zoomed in on the whole sort of like adult Shazam like grouping, and I did not realize, and I did not think that the guy who plays Seth in the OC is one of them.
Oh, Adam Brody.
Yeah, Adam Brody is one of them. Yeah. I zoomed in, I was, damn, I did not even realize that he was part of that movie. But I hope to see like kind of a little bit more like interaction between them, because obviously that was just the very end of the last movie. But I'm kind of excited for this one. I think it's going to be good.
No, yeah, my definite question is going to be like, do all of the kids or adults, whatever we're going to call them, refer to themselves as Shazam? You know, because he says in the trailer, like, we're all off doing our own things. I'm the only one trying to keep it together, which means is like Darla running around the city in a purple suit. Is freaking is everyone doing their own thing, calling themselves Shazam? You know.
Well, they all say Shazam to get their powers, so maybe
that's
like
fair, which is super fair. Which is I'm like, yeah, but Shazam is the guy in the red cape, and then there's, you know, Mary Marvel, whatever you want to call her. After that, like, I don't know what to call the rest of them. Just the Shazam family.
Just like when you get saved, it's like, oh, I got saved by a Shazam, not like the Shazam.
Not the Shazam.
Like, one of the Shazams came and saved me from a bad guy or something.
Yeah, fine. I will not look too deeply into that, because we are already losing DC, and I'm just not gonna harp on it.
By the way, Zachary Levi, another person asked about a Superman question by a child. They kept sending children to ask these questions, I guess thinking that they would be like, we'll answer your question. And he would just like, basically next question, he like kind of skipped over it. Like he wouldn't like acknowledge it. And I mean, I guess he can't. I mean, I know they want to so bad.
I guarantee you when they had like their press briefing, like the first thing is like, just don't mention Superman. Everyone just like throws their hands up, and they're like, God damn it. Just like like, come on. Like literally,
they like teased Superman at the end of the first Shazam.
No, they literally have the Kryptonian suit, like they just don't have his head. It's brutal.
Yeah, there's no face. I mean, do you think that was on purpose to be like, maybe Henry Cavill's not coming back, or like?
No, that was completely on purpose. That was Zachary Levi's stunt double in the suit. Like they didn't care who was in it. Actually, they just wanted to say like Superman was there, but
yeah. Oh, by the way,
go ahead.
I was
gonna say, like, they also like mentioned like another tidbit of what happened at Comic-Con is that Jim Lee, basically the head creative director of
put another nail, another knife in the
just put another knife in the side of my back. Someone asked about the Snyderverse, and he's like, right now there are absolutely zero plans that I know of to continue on with the Snyderverse of things. And then I found that very odd that then, actually, no, I don't find it very odd at all. Classic Warner Brothers just completely contradicting themselves. He mentions The Flash, shows Zack Snyder's Justice League clip of him running against Superman, shows Aquaman, Jason Momoa, which he's actually pretty safe this movie. He might be the only one who ever lasts. And then they show Ben Affleck Batman from Justice League. Zack Snyder shot, like the one that Zack Snyder shot, not the one that Joss Whedon replaced, the one that Zack Snyder used. So classic Warner Brothers showing one trailer of like, do it like we're going in this direction, but using old Zack Snyder clips and saying like, oh, that's cool. Like, what is going on?
It's so weird. And like every time I hear them talk about the Snyderverse now, it's like they just sound like a bunch of bullies at this point. We have no plans of like continuing. Like, we know. I mean, there's no need to like even further discuss it. I get if someone asks you the question. I think there's ways to answer that without it being like some kind of veiled insult. Like you'd be like, hey, you know, we discussed this already. This is what we're doing. You know, this is the plan. Instead of just saying like, no, we're not gonna. That's over. That's dead. That's done with. Especially with like that Rolling Stone thing coming out in the last week, and then you
definitely had to do something with it.
Yeah,
it's like a dig.
It's a dig, and you know, it was interesting too because everyone like people in the know
what was the sentiment amongst you writers
people more in the know than like Jobo, like, 'cause, you know, there's Extra there, Hollywood Reporter, Variety. They all thought he was going to be there. Like there was no like oh, this is like kind of a rumor. You know how like some of these start on like comic book movie websites and they kind of stay there. No, this trickled down into like bigger media outlets that picked it up. I don't know who started it or where it started from, or like maybe there was some truth to it at one point, and then what makes it all the more confusing is that they asked the director of Black Adam about Superman, like a cameo or anything, and he was like, "No, there's no cameo. This story is just about Black Adam. We're not trying to connect to anything like that." He could be lying. I mean, I don't even know when people are telling the truth anymore. After the whole Spider-Man No Way Home thing, I don't know how to believe people when they're like, "No, I'm not in something." But I feel like with like their situation, to lie about it would be really stupid at this point, because they can tell like there's so much negative stuff surrounding it. And like no matter how good, like you can, like I actually liked the Shazam trailer. It got me pumped for it. I thought it was good. It wasn't enough to carry their day, because even with a grand entrance like Dwayne Johnson made, and like no matter how cool he is and like all his enthusiasm and everyone's enthusiasm for Black Adam, having those two things,
times he says that DC hierarchy will change.
That he said that a lot during the trailer reveal too.
Oh my god!
No matter, even if you just have those two things, it wasn't enough. Like when it was over, like my editor-in-chief was like, "I think that's it." And I was like, "Oh, are you sure?" And then it was done. And like, it was, and like you would think like a company like that. I mean, yeah, maybe their backs against the wall because they don't. We're like, wait, what do we present? Because like two of our movies are problematic right now. Like, what do we do? But like, someone was like, "Dude, give us a fucking title card." If you gave us like something from Batgirl, we would be like, "Yeah, something." Like maybe give us updates on the shooting. Like you could have done like a sizzle reel behind the scenes stuff on. Dude, like Blue Beetle, or like
bring Michael Keaton. Like, well, I hate to be the person to say bring Michael Keaton, but like do something.
Well, I was wondering if that was an issue too, because of the Flash connection, because of not knowing how where he fits in Batgirl and what he. But I thought of that too, but then like someone quickly were like, no, I don't know if they know what to do with that either.
Yeah, well. I honestly really it's just special. I'm just really disappointed, and I don't want to harp too much more on DC because like there's way better things to be excited about this episode. But like the fact that they didn't show any Batgirl, and again I didn't even want Batgirl. You didn't show a title card for Batgirl. You didn't bring the director out. You didn't bring anything, dude. You know how much Blue Beetle would have played at Comic-Con in San Diego, a very heavy Hispanic area, the first Latino superhero, which then got overtaken by Namor. Like, and,
and I think they play well too, because remember when those like set photos leaked, they were well received too.
Fire.
They were really well received. Like
so good.
So like they could have come up with something. Like at past Comic Cons, like when stuff's not finished.
Yeah.
Right. When stuff's not finished at past Comic Cons, they do like a sizzle reel of like behind the scenes like stuff, like of you shooting or like anything like that.
Some excitement.
So yeah. You don't really need like a finished film necessarily to like cut together like a minute or two worth of like exciting shots of something. And then like the fact that there was like zero attempt to do that is so strange. And for a company like them that needs some goodwill, like they could have come out of this so well. Now, if they do announce DC fandom, then this kind of will calm things down a bit, because even with what Marvel did at Comic-Con, and they did a lot, there's still stuff that they didn't talk about because they have D23 coming up in a couple months. So like, but even with knowing that they have that down the line, they still brought a lot. And like, if DC does have DC fandom in their back pocket, like I hope they do, because that will make up a little bit for what they did in San Diego. But the last couple of years they had announced it by now, so I don't know if it's actually happening. Like DC fandom grew out of a thing because it was meant to be virtual, and I don't know if with everything kind of back to normal now, like if it is as viable virtually anymore, or do you try to pivot and do something else? And it might be too last minute to do something in person for it. I don't know.
Just another slip on the DC train. I mean, it's just like one of those things that's like, they haven't found the right way to, I mean, entice their fans. It's like the fans are expecting certain things, and as much as I agree, but also somewhat pander to letting the fans kind of get what they want, it's like Comic-Con is for the fans. There's no reason to, like, I mean, Marvel gives certain things, like whatever, the John Krasinski cameo, yes, that was like a fan thing. But at the end of the day, it's like Comic-Con is for the fans. It's for everyone to go out there and see things that you would never see anywhere else, and meet people and get to experience unexpected things, and see like these big shout outs, and and hopefully to see like actors that you would never be able to see. And so I don't know, it's just frustrating to see that, like, once again it seems like they're dropping the ball, because they also still don't really know what they're doing. And I mean, even just to give you, like, I mean, even something as simple as a timeline that Marvel gave with all the movies that are coming out, like, you could have just done something like that, and to like spark some excitement in like what's coming and what it's going to look like and what we might expect to see. But it seems like they just have done the bare minimum, and we're like, yep, this is what you're getting, and be happy with it.
Well, the problem is, I think what it would look like is Black Adam, Aquaman, The Flash, question mark. Question mark. I think that's the issue. But yeah, I mean, they could have come up with something. I mean, I think we could have come up with something for them. Like, the bare minimum, like any fan could have like come up with something. It's just crazy that they didn't show up to this big event. And I think Comic-Con shows that like they need a Kevin Feige to like lead them, because like the fact that Kevin Feige basically like led the Marvel panel, but then also, was introducing like the cast from like all the other movies, but he was like the central figure of like, he's the leader, and DC doesn't have a leader. The fact that their panels were basically led by the celebrities it was led by the Dwayne Johnsons and the Zachary Levis on their panel. There's no one to like right their ship basically, and they need someone to do that. I don't know who it is. But like,
Gaius, there was this guy. He has a wife. She's a really good producer.
His name's Zack Snyder.
Had this wild, like 6-movie plan that was spread out and had time to grow, where Warner Brothers could have easily put in another movie here or there. And they fucked that up. And they basically put a hit piece out on my boy, Zack Snyder. I'm not doing it to pander, but like you're never gonna find another Kevin Feige who is so good at his job to plan out decades of movies and have Disney, probably one of the world's most powerful companies in the world, say yes, do it, and we're only gonna stop you if you get too nuts, which you never do because you're in the confines of other directors and other writers and everything like that. I just don't think we're ever gonna like. In 30 years, there will be a documentary on how Kevin Feige, not Stan Lee, is the.
Oh, that's a hot take.
Think about it. I mean, yes, Stan Lee created all the characters, made all the things, and yes, we're not taking anything away from the great Stan Lee. But what I'm saying is, in 30 years, when it's all said and done, and we are probably on to our first new Iron Man post Robert Downey Jr., that Kevin Feige will be Kevin Feige will be the Marvel guy. Like, he will be the Godfather, the one who sits at the top of the table. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to money, and he literally made them unworldly amount of money, and they were good. So,
but the way that I think about it too, Jack, is like, I mean, Kevin Feige, yes, he's like this producer and executive producer, but he's not the director of all these movies. And I think that Zack Snyder having an idea for all of these different films and like his 6-film like sort of franchise, you could say, would all have been directed by him. And so I think that maybe to have more of a figurehead and more of a strategic, like business strategic planner rather than like just a director who's doing something.
At least he had a plan. There was no plan with DC. So because unfortunately DC gave Zach the first movie and he was like, okay, cool, I'll just continue going on. Like if they said step back and let, like he did it with Patty Jenkins. Like Patty Jenkins did Wonder Woman. James Wan did Aquaman. Andy Muschietti did The Flash, but we'll see how that turns out. I have faith in him. I just don't know how they're going to change the character and whatnot, the actor. So he did. He'll just be the central line. But yeah, I would essentially, it's like the Russo, like Zack Snyder is the Russos for Marvel in the sense that they get all the key movies and then everyone else does whatever. But yeah, you are right. There definitely needs to be someone above Zack Snyder, but they're like, you can't, like I just said, you cannot recreate in any way, shape, or form another Feige to just be able to be like, we're doing this, and I'm going to follow up on it. And it's like, because you hear about it, and he, like, I would say, like, I would actually love if he got the directorial, like, if he could direct like a mini series, because like all you hear is like from America Chavez when she was arguing with him about like what Earth they're on, to like any of the other stuff that you've heard in the past. Like he actually knows his shit. Like he's on set, he's talking with the directors, he's in the room making sure that these directors are going online. The one that he has made for him. So I would love to see him himself direct.
He's also been there forever too. I mean, he was there when they were doing like the X-Men movies and Spider-Man. Like he, in some capacity, not in as large of a capacity as he is now, but he's been there from the ground up, watching this thing build. And I think the best thing about him compared to like whoever is running DC at any given time is that it seems like Kevin Feige, even though he's the figurehead, he's the producer, he gives his creative team like room to breathe. Like he's like, we hired you for a reason. We're trusting you. Like, I mean, a lot of like big producers like that and big entities, like they're hiring like indie level directors on some of these Marvel projects that have never had, like, who have never worked with big budgets before. And he's trusting them to like, I believe in your vision, like go. And that is, and I think that's important too. I mean, like he doesn't get in the way of like whatever creative freedom they want to have.
A good analogy for the sports people is Feige's a general manager. There's the manager. General manager sets it all up and then just lets the manager do what's on the field. And the director of the managers, like he does it to it perfectly. He doesn't get in too much, doesn't get out too much. You never hear from Bob Iger, the owner. Yeah, that's another good thing too. And then I'd like to point out too another thing. DC's like when they chose their people to like do it besides Zach, it was like Jeff Johns, who was a comic book writer. He wasn't a business guy or like a movie guy. He was like a legit, like famous comic book writer who basically refreshed the comics themselves in like the early 90s and 2000s. But then like there was no business plans, no business minded comic book nerd Kevin Feige guy. So I just revert back to my original statement. You can't recreate Kevin Feige. And I completely agree with Owen that there is no one for DC to pick and we're screwed. But then the last thing on the panel is like,
there's no one who's been there long enough because Warner Brothers has done fucking jack shit with their entire organization. So it's like to have someone who's from the ground up, you can't really like pick someone out like that. I mean, to kind of go back to one of our favorite movies that we like to say, it's like Moneyball. I mean, Kevin Feige is kind of like Billy Beane, where he was a general manager but he's heavily involved within the team, and he's heavily involved in picking who's the starters and stuff like that. So it's like to find someone like that for DC. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't even say it'd be a miracle. It's infallible. It just doesn't make sense. There's no way for them to actually pick someone who's understanding of the whole thing, but also has to take under the massive undertaking of basically regenerating and redefining what the entire franchise is about. But while also still keeping all the good things and then saying, hey, listen, we're done with the bad things. But like you kind of have to like take the blame, but then also forge ahead. It's like a weird sort of thing that you have to do, and then it's just such a hard and impossible job to take over.
And the biggest thing is the problem is the studio interferes too much. Like I would argue that the costumes in DC are better than the ones in Marvel most of the time. I think they're fucking really, really well made. Like they look more. They're not. I mean, yes, Martian Manhunter, super CGI, obviously. But
as long as you don't give me another one of these where you click the neck and then a little CG like mask comes off like Spider-Man and freaking like the quantum suits and Endgame. I was like, all right, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm just so over the bloop. Now I can see the face, where I know it was just you never had a mask on. You're just wearing freaking dots all over your face in front of a green screen.
Yeah,
I'm a little tired of that.
Like Ezra Miller's Flash suit is like fucking dope. Like that's like really cool, like practical thing. So they do have good pieces to their movies, and they do have good actors. Henry. But other than that, like
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
We actually. I'm sorry, Gal. We completely forgot about you too. She's fantastic as well. I don't know about Patty.
She just shouldn't write. She shouldn't write them. Like
okay,
I think she was a good director on the first one. I'm not comparing her to George Lucas, and that's just silly. But George Lucas is like, it's like the opposite. George Lucas can like write like a good story. He can come up with a good universe, but his screenplays are like awful. And I don't think he's a good director of actors either. Like he's all about like universe building, and he has these like big ideas, which are awesome. They're great. Because, like, you can't come up with something like Star Wars and not be, like, somewhat fucking brilliant.
A genius.
Yeah. But, like, he's not a good, like, and I think with Patty Jenkins, I think she was a good director for that project. It was just, like, let someone, like, come in and handle the writing, and then you can't.
Also, the concept was basically throwing a coin into a wishing well and getting what you want. So it's like that just in general was not really the best idea.
Yeah. And I also want to point out, too, I think that we're talking about how these two Marvel and DC handle things. I even think Marvel handles their like quote unquote like failures better. Like you have something like Eternals that gets like the worst reviews of the MCU critically, right? Still makes enough money to be like, oh, it's a hit. And there were a lot of publications that tried to like get Kevin Feige to say like, oh, like maybe Chloe Zhao was a problem. Maybe you should get a new director for the next one if you do another one. And he came out in full support of her, saying that he would want her back for another one. There was no blame game about like what went wrong. They just kind of like let it come out. They let people digest it. However they felt about it, and they moved on. Like with DC, when it doesn't work, it seems like there is like a lot of finger pointing as to why these things didn't work.
No one wants to take the blame. Because then also when Eternals comes out on Disney Plus, everyone watches it again.
Yeah, so it did well on Disney. It did really well on Disney Plus.
It did well on Disney Plus. So it's like even like their failures, they just kind of let them simmer. Whereas DC, they're just like, you said it was going to be no. This is they have to defend themselves. And this, I mean, anytime you're even having a conversation with just a regular person and they start to get defensive, you start to think, oh, they fucked up or they did something wrong.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
why are you so angry, bro?
This was the decision we made. This is the way we went, and this is what happened. Like, I totally agree with you guys. They've been very graceful in there. I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily call it failures, just their mild letdowns to their billion-dollar franchise.
No, right. They failed off the bat with Batman vs Superman. Made $900 million, almost about $500 million in profit, and they were like, "Sorry, we fucked up." It's like,
it's weird. It's weird calling that movie a failure. It's so weird calling that movie a failure because, like, when a movie clears $900 million worldwide, I know its budget was huge. It was a huge budget, and it had like a huge marketing budget as well. But it still pulled in a profit. I think the issue was like, well, Avengers made like this, like $1 billion. This, like, and then that was the comparison. So I think also the way the media kind of like took both of those movies. I mean, took that movie in general too when it quote unquote underperformed. Like you can say it underperformed. Maybe you could say like, oh, we thought it was gonna make a little bit money in the States, like blah blah blah. Like, but to call it an outright failure, that movie, I don't like it. I don't love it, but I would never call it a box office failure. Like making that much money. No.
Yeah, no, it failed, and I would argue now you watch it again, Gase. You took 3 hours out of your day to watch like the regular good version. Like, you'd be like, it's not fantastic. You actually, but it's good. Like I would watch this, if it was on TV, but whatever. But I think we should just stop talking about my poor label of a goddamn studio, Warner Brothers, and move on to some brighter things in the Comic-Con land.
Yeah. So how do you want to attack Marvel? Because there was a lot. There's a schedule. There's trailers. How would you like to go about this?
I think the most we have to talk about is the trailers, and Were you in college for it? Were you in that college for it?
Just for half of it, not all of it. So I saw the Guardians stuff, which they did.
Yeah, they did. Before we get into trailers and stuff, tell us what we didn't see, because there was footage from Guardians and there was footage from Quantum Mania. What was that like?
All right, so I wrote it down for you. So it's really short, and the reason why they didn't release it online is because it's not Marvel's fault. James Gunn said that he's still working on like special effect shots, and he didn't want it to be out for like repeated consumption online. He wasn't ready for it to be seen online. But a lot of it it is really alluding. A lot of it is to Rocket's backstory. Like this seems to be like Rocket's movie a little bit, giving him more of like an emotional like kind of center. And also it was heavy on Gamora footage and her not being like the Gamora that they of course know, because of what happened in Endgame and all that. And then also Star-Lord dealing with the fact that she's not the person that he wants to, and then trying to get her to remember and blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of, it's really heavy on, there was a lot of like, you can tell it's a definitive end, and they actually brought that up, that it is an end to their journey. Like this is the last of the Guardians movies. Whether or not they carry on into more, like if they do like Avengers stuff, if one of them or two of them show up in future movies, that could happen, but it is the last Guardians movie as we know it. And
I hope they give it like a real substantial runtime. Like give it 230. Like I like the Guardians movies a lot, and I wish they were longer sometimes.
I thought so too, because even like, so the footage is like maybe a minute and a half, minute 50. It wasn't that like incredibly long. But there's a lot to unpack, like as far as the story they're trying to tell. Like it seems like they're trying to give everyone a significant arc a little bit to kind of end them off properly. And then Maria Bakalova, she was the girl in that Sacha Baron Cohen movie that came out during the pandemic.
Oh yeah,
the blonde. Yeah. Well, she's the voice of Cosmo the Space Dog, so that's why she was there. I wasn't sure why she was there, but she's the voice of Cosmo the Space Dog. Karen Gillian said that she will basically have more levity in her character. She's not as angry anymore compared to all her other appearances as Nebula. Like she gets to be funnier in this one. Oh, look at you roll your eyes. Well, she's so hard all the time, right? Like she gets.
No, I know, but like I hope like God, tell me that Nebula is like is like dry funny. If she becomes like bubbly funny, I'm gonna be real pissed.
Yeah, I think they might keep her dry funny. I don't think it's gonna be like suddenly like
she still has her same personality.
No, yeah, but like if she's like all of a sudden like popping out of like the corner to like scare Rocket and be like it's like
yeah.
So I hope sounds good. I mean, Nebula's dope. She's cool.
And Will Poulter really jacked up to become Adam Warlock. I like Will Poulter, from what I've always known him as, is like small, skinny kid. Like even now at Comic-Con, he was ripped still. I'm assuming from making this movie, because they just stopped shooting in May. That's when they wrapped.
No, and dude, you could tell from Maze Runner that he's a beast. He just didn't like the kid's like, how tall is he? Like 6'3"? He's huge.
He's tall.
Yeah, and then like they were going to introduce him in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but they feel like it was too much in one movie, I guess.
I think that's smart, actually. Yeah, that would have been too much.
And by the way, you hear that a lot with some of these things where like they're like, oh, we're going to introduce these major characters in like our previous film. It's like already crowded and overstuffed with characters. I think if they do this right, it might be one of the more emotional like MCU movies, I think. Because there is a definite there's a definite finality to it, I think.
Yeah, and that's why it's like what do you know what the plot point of Adam Warlock is going to be? Because obviously like this is the end of Guardians, but you're introducing Adam Warlock, so I feel that what you're saying, like where two or more might show up in a future thing. I think I have no idea this plot of this movie at all. This is just a shot in the dark that two of them are gonna go on more adventures with Warlock.
I wouldn't be surprised too. I mean, yeah, because like, and my thing is too, if you're not doing any more Guardians movies, right? That's fine, but then you have a cast that features like Chris Pratt, and you have those names, you don't necessarily want to like give them up. You're gonna like try to fit them in somewhere else if you can. And considering what's coming down the line, I think they could fit in a big way
on for some other stuff,
which will be exciting. And they were very emotional too. Like you could tell, like it was the last one for them. Like they were crying
wow.
about it. And they all have a huge affection for James Gunn. And it was kind of cool to see because of like everything that he went through after, doing the second movie, getting fired and then getting rehired and then all that other stuff that they've had his back the entire time. And I think like they kind of felt they couldn't finish it without him. And then the fact that they were able to do that everything worked out. And for him in a really good way, he got to jump on DC and Marvel.
You got that DC money. He gave them their only good show in fucking past year. And Peacemaker is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they didn't release because they also showed some stuff from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I was wondering why they didn't release this online, but the movie doesn't come out until February, and I guess if you release a trailer now when Black Panther is coming out in November, it would kind of overshadow that a bit. But Jonathan Majors is Kang the Conqueror. He's going to be like, there was all this talk about can he compare to like, how does he compare to Thanos? Because he seems to be like the big threat. And Kevin Feige was basically saying that he rests he will put everything on Jonathan Majors and Kang the Conqueror to be even better than Thanos as far as
that's a big statement.
Yeah. Look at your face again.
I'm just trying to think like, because he's a multi-dimensional like character, and we only seen him once, and like the only time we kind of saw him, he was very frantic, very uncertain of what the hell he's gonna do. Like I forgot what the specific term was or whatever, but he was like, I don't know what happens after this. Like whatever, like the writing happens like at the center of whatever universe. So I just don't know, like. Thanos, very clear as his power and why. You got the Infinity Stones, has a huge army, to take over the world, prove that he did it. He did what he wanted to do, and was like, that's bad. With Kang, like I just don't know his motivations yet. I just don't know his motivations yet. So therefore, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rely on Feige to be like, this guy's gonna be fucking sick. But I just need to know like. Am I gonna question like everything that happens to be like, is that Kang? Is that Kang? Is that Kang? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do Kang and Secret Wars like intercede too? Because like those are the two Avengers movies. So how is that gonna work too? Like, you clearly know the threat with Secret Wars. It's fucking aliens pretending they're people and putting themselves in powerful positions. You clearly would see that issue coming up. That is my only concern. That's the reason I make the faces, because I'm like, all right, Feige, like I'm here for it. Like, let me know. But like, you can't sell me on just that.
As an outside, like know everything about the comics kind of viewer and like audience member, it's starting to get into the realms of like, I really have no idea what's going on, and like I really don't like understand or have any sort of connection to the characters. I mean, I really liked Thanos. I never really kind of knew who he was until the movies started coming out. So they have the ability to kind of do these things and like to introduce characters to us, but like to start doing all these different things like Kraven the Hunter or like other different things
Sony
where
don't bring Sony into this.
Oh, but just like other certain characters where like we've started to depart from the original group of Marvel heroes, and so like my I wouldn't say patience, but my like ability to stay focused on what Marvel is doing is starting to dwindle, just in terms of how much they have planned and how much I need to do homework in order to understand what's happening.
That was a big debate on site about the TV shows and movies. That was like a huge
and so like I'm
conversation.
Starting to get to the point where I'm just like, all right, well, like all these different things are coming out, but like, am I even pumped about it, or am I just gonna go see the next Marvel movie?
No, you're absolutely gonna go see the next Marvel movie. That really is like, how's Blade fit in? No
Yeah, here's what Kevin Feige said too. Like, it was an interview with MTV News at Comic-Con, and they were asking him about like all the end credit scenes recently. Like, oh, do they tie into like the bigger picture, like with the 2 Avengers movies down the line? And he was saying like some of them do, some of them are like they're more like standalone for like specific characters. And then he was like, the thing is like all this isn't connected to a bigger picture. Like, some of the shows will be, some of the shows won't. And that was the first time I actually heard him say that. Where like before I thought they were like, no, you need to watch all these in order to like stay familiar. And I don't know if that's a cop out answer now, because they're realizing that everyone doesn't want to pay attention to like every single show to keep up with what's going on. But I think that's good if they don't all connect, because like they can be their own standalone stories. The shows can like kind of thrive on streaming while you're building the cinematic universe. That's perfectly fine. Well, and then the Ant-Man, Paul Rudd was there, Evangeline Lilly, Catherine Newton, who's playing his daughter Cassie Lang, replacing the actress from Endgame. I don't even know who she was, but she's probably really upset that she's not the daughter in this.
Missing out on that bag.
I know. A few highlights from the trailer. Bill Murray is in the movie.
Yep.
He's playing someone that's in charge of Michelle Pfeiffer's character, like they show in the trailer, because they all get sucked into the quantum realm at one point. And then
in the quantum realm is going to be.
And then the trailer ends with the arrival of Kang the Conqueror. And then I don't want to pronounce this. Is it MODOK? Is it MODOK?
MODOK.
Yeah,
MODOK.
they also confirmed to be in the film as well.
Yeah. He's just like a weird fan favorite, like weird character off the riff. He'll be like Kang's like second in command. Yeah.
But there was like a lot of, I don't know if you could have brought this up on one of our other episodes. I think there was like a lot of chatter for like Ant-Man being like much more important than like the 2 previous movies have been. Like, it's more like of a, as far as like the films are now, like what it's setting up for this next phase is going to be much more important than we kind of maybe thought previously. It's not just like another Ant-Man sequel.
Oh no!
His like whole quantum thing was the reason that they were able to defeat Thanos. So I'm not surprised that they're going more into making him a more primary character.
I mean, I think they're going to focus on just any chance they can use the quantum realm. I think they're going to use, because Loki is cop out. Well, yeah, because like Loki's it's such a cop out because they can do anything in the multiverse. Yeah, but like I just think they're harping on it because Loki is just so popular and everyone loves it. So,
true.
So yeah, that on top of Quantumania on top of Loki 2 is going to be like Quantum Mania. Like, what? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool that Ant-Man's getting a lot of shine. It's one of those things that Kevin Feige probably saw like down the line 10 years ago. Was like, you know what? I know how to get Ant-Man like popular money wise.
Yep. Yeah. And I did not see this, but there was footage from Secret Invasion. I did miss this. There is like I found a little breakdown of what there wasn't like a ton of stuff, but they did show that Don Cheadle is back as James Rhodes in it. Olivia Colman, 2-time Oscar winner, is also in it. They said it seemed like she's like an authority figure to Fury, almost like James Bond's like M, basically. Kind of, yeah. And then Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones is also on the show. Also said to be very important to this phase as well, in a really big way. They didn't really show a lot of footage, but yeah. Samuel L. Jackson is also ethnic for it. Yeah.
Just returns to my point. It's like, how do they put Secret Wars and Kang into into like connecting, or because if we want to move into the timeline, I feel like it's a good turning point to the timeline. Yeah. Isn't Kang? Did they say? I know they trademarked it, and there's apparently a logo. I feel like they just used the logos from previous Avengers films and just redid it. But did they say when those were coming out? I saw 2025, but like if they're both coming out in the same year, then I'm just like even more. I raise the question even more.
Let's see.
How the hell are you gonna connect
2024 and 2025?
Okay, yeah. So it's an Endgame Infinity War type deal. So I'm just very curious to see how they connect a multiverse with aliens, and I'm here for it. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I'm too. And then like looking at the schedule, wait, do you want to talk about the Black Panther trailer really quick?
I think that deserves its own little segment, so let's keep the
Oh
timeline.
yeah, okay, all right. So the timeline, the beginning, so Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will end Phase 4. They kind of glossed over the whole Phase 4, like, oh, has it been like? There was some talk about it being directionless, and basically, since they're calling this whole thing like the multiverse saga, they're basically saying that Phase 4 wasn't directionless. It kind of leads us to where we're going into Phase 5. But Phase 5 will start with Ant-Man on February 17th, 2023, followed by Secret Invasion, spring 2023, Guardians Volume 3, May 5th, 2023, The Marvels, July 28th, 2023. That's a lot, and this is all in 1 year. Loki Season 2, summer 2023. Echo, also summer 2023. Blade, November 3rd, 2023. Ironheart, fall 2023. Agatha, Coven of Chaos, winter 2023.
I didn't need that one.
Daredevil, Born Again, spring 2024.
Love that character though from Wanda.
Yeah, she was funny. I liked her. I don't know if she needs her own show.
I don't need a comedy show of Agatha.
Captain America: New World Order, May 3rd, 2024. And Thunderbolts, July 26th, 2024.
I hate to say it, it's not going to be Captain America without freaking Chris Evans, man. It's just not.
Ooh, that's the hot take. I was just about to say I can't fucking wait for that movie. That's gonna be so sick.
And Chris Evans is doing all he can to be like, yo, respect Anthony Mackie. He's Captain America now. Like, let him have his moment.
Anthony Mackie is Clarence, and he went to a private school.
Dude, I cannot. New World Order. I hope for some fucking Russian Nazi type shit. Like, oh, I can't wait, man. Like, give me Captain America, Winter Soldier, like government conspiracy type New World Order movie. I'm fully in on that.
It's gotta be better than the show because the show did not grip me.
What? Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think coming after WandaVision, I didn't like it as much. I thought WandaVision was so good that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was just kind of basic. I didn't hate it, but I
didn't like the like sort of the rebellion and like those characters, and that was like the main people they were fighting.
I really think that I would say this is there was the term like half-baked idea. I think that series was like a 9/10 baked idea. They needed stuff for Disney Plus. They saw how easy it was to just keep Bucky and Sam going with 6 episodes, get those fucking subscriptions in, and just make it then a social. I'm not gonna say it was a social justice message, but like try to convey what was happening at the time of society with the whole BLM stuff, and kind of like take advantage of the fact that we now have an African American Captain America, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I liked it. It was awesome, but I'm super excited for this one.
Yep.
But I would say
out of the Phase 5 stuff, which one are you, out of the Phase 5 stuff, which other than Captain America, I think Daredevil is one. If they do that right, dude, I hope it's really good.
I want to see Blade. I want to see Blade.
Thank you. Yeah, Blade's my number 1. Thunderbolts number 2, and
that's gonna be good.
Captain America number 3, and that's saying a lot because I fucking love Daredevil. Like, love Daredevil. The only thing I will say is 18 fucking episodes. Are you serious, man?
Maybe they'll split them up.
That's a lot, man. That's teetering on like the Flash count where like there's 4 episodes don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
And by the way, they're going all in on Daredevil. Charlie Cox, like, he's going to be a voice of Daredevil on Spider-Man freshman year. He's on Echo. He's going to appear on She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, and getting his own show. So we went from like no Charlie Cox to like all the Charlie Cox.
All in.
And you know why? Because I was reading a report that said that Kevin Feige said that Spider-Man and Daredevil are going to be the new street level Avengers. So basically, they're not the superhuman powered ones, but like the lower crime like grounded ones. But they can't use fucking Spider-Man for so long because they just used him for the past like 5 years in a row. So that's why they're going so in on Charlie Cox, because they need a connection to the city of New York.
Okay, I see.
Because like that's where like the Avengers probably, there's probably like an Avengers headquarters there, all that nonsense. So they need someone to like at least stay around there so like they can like you can hear the chit chatter of what else is going on in the city.
Yeah.
And then that can lead into like Punisher and all that kind of stuff too. So they need to keep him in there. And we haven't had Daredevil since I don't know 2019 when season 3 came out, which was like it's like that's top 5 season of TV for me right there. Season 3 was fantastic.
Oh, and by the way, I just looked at the Phase 6 schedule. The Avengers movies are coming out the same year. I thought they were a year apart. Phase 6 starts with Fantastic Four on November 8th, 2024. And then Avengers The King Dynasty is May 2nd, 2025. Avengers Secret Wars, November 7th, 2025. I feel like there should be a bigger gap there, but whatever. I'm not Marvel.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Don't make a bunch of money.
Right now, right now, as recording, it's July 25th, 2022. Gay's just said like 7 shows that are in 2023 and then another 4 in 2024. Like they're moving, baby. And I'm not to bring this back to DC, but y'all are fucked.
Yep. And and look at what's like missing, because like a lot of people are like there are gaps and stuff that they previously announced that weren't on that schedule. So they announced a Werewolf by Night Halloween special this year. That's still coming out I think in October. They confirmed a Shang-Chi sequel as soon as that movie came out, like right after it opened. There's also talk about where do you fit in Deadpool. They think that there could be some gaps where he could fit in before the Secret Wars stuff, as well as
season 2.
Yeah, What If Season 2. There's also Armor Wars. The creator of that show said, even though it wasn't announced, that it's still coming out with Don Cheadle. There's also talk of sequels to Doctor Strange, where that fits in, and Thor as well. And then minor talk about Eternals and stuff like that. But like, yeah, there's a bunch of gaps that need to be filled in on a very busy schedule. Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of that wasn't revealed probably at Comic-Con because they know they have D23 coming up. Because a lot of people were concerned that they didn't announce anything for Deadpool because people want something from Deadpool at this point. And and then people want some X-Men stuff too. They're teasing mutants now, finally. So X-Men could very well happen soon-ish. It's just weird to think that like it'll be like several years before some of these come out, and some of us will be older.
Several years, it'll be 3.
Well, that's enough because I'm 30. I'm 37.
Crazy.
So it's gross.
Crazy. But yeah, no, I think I'm super excited for this lineup. Definitely didn't need Agatha Code of Chaos. Like that'll be if that's like a super important connected show to the multiverse, I'm gonna be so upset that I have to watch that.
I feel like they did that more for Catherine Hahn. Like I think they had a talent. They had talent with her, and then
God, what did she do?
She got an outcry of love. People loved her character.
Okay. All right. Well, when you're Disney and have that much money, fine, I guess. Whatever. But whatever. But fine. Then Blade, like super excited for that, dude. That's gonna be fucking sick.
It's gonna be really good.
Does that get Kit Harington back? Like, will he appear in that?
It does. It probably does because they'll definitely go into like the Black Sword, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali is a good choice for Blade. I'm excited for that. Even though I know Wesley Snipes is everyone's Blade, and he was good back in the day, but I think Mahershala Ali is a good replacement. Yeah, I think Mahershala Ali is a good replacement.
But I think moving into the elephant in the room, Gaius.
Which one?
Were you in the room? Were you in the room for Black Panther?
I was not in the room for Black Panther. Actually, towards the end, I missed the they did like a music thing with like kind of like African style stuff, and apparently that was like highly emotional. The cast like more emotional than the cast for Guardians, just because of the weight of doing it without Chadwick Boseman. Before I even say anything about the trailer, I'll let you guys talk about it more. I guess in its first 24 hours, it was viewed 172 million times, which Spider-Man No Way Home had 355 million views in 24 hours, but this trailer was released on an off day on a Saturday when you don't typically release trailers like at that time. it easily topped the 88 million in the first 24 hours that the first Black Panther received.
I will just say everyone knows that trailers are coming out when it's Comic-Con, even if you're just a movie guy. So,
well, that's true. But everyone's not buying that. Everyone's not
truly buy that statistic.
But everyone's not buying their computer like you know.
People have smartphones now, guys.
Yeah. I dude, if you follow Marvel or like Lights Camera Barstool or like us, follow us at back to the Blockbuster. It's back_2_ the Blockbuster. Like you'll find that trailer. Like so, I think that number on YouTube alone, if they did an aggregate of all, it probably would have beaten Spider-Man.
Well, it came out at 9:20. It came out at 9:20 p.m. Eastern time on a Saturday.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. If I wasn't working I don't know if I would be on my phone waiting for it to come out.
True.
Well,
I might have. The next day.
I definitely might have sat in the corner of a bar and watched this.
I will say this: everyone that seems to watch it has watched it multiple times, and they get highly. There are a lot of emotional people watching it over and over again at Comic-Con, and then people talking about it on Twitter. I kind of feel like they did the right thing of just letting emotion work with this, and it wasn't about spectacle or like grand action and all that stuff. It was just, yeah. If you were feeling doubtful about how they can make this work without him, I think it kind of made you hopeful that they're taking it in the right direction, I think. And I think it's one of the better like trailers we've gotten from them in like a while. And just because it was just so different from what they've usually put out. And, you know, you could tell that like, you could tell from everyone involved that they want to make him proud. And I'm sure this was a daunting task, like doing it without him. And, you know, and having to kind of pivot from what your original idea was for this. And then having to pivot quickly, because even with the delays and everything, they had to make these changes really fast. But from what I can see, it looks like, I mean, we were talking about how we hadn't seen anything from the movie, and some people were worried, but I think this kind of calmed a lot of people's fears. I
think this is going to get great reception. It's going to be like one of the top movies of whatever year it comes out in, and it's really going to be like basically a tribute, I think, to Chadwick and to everything that he gave to the character and the love that sort of franchise had. And I think it's just going to get a really good reception, and I'm really excited to kind of see where they go with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really good.
I think that this film and Avatar: The Way of Water are the only two movies that could Top Gun as far as like box office revenue this year that are left for the rest of the year.
No, 100%. So first off, I think this movie is going to make a gajillion dollars. Like off the bat, give me the highest number and double it. It's going to make a gajillion dollars. Before I dive in, there's one thing I want to say. I know like the African-American community jumped on Black Panther because it was like their first character. It was a title and the whole entire nine. Like it was and I have to say that's kind of why it made $1 billion. And I don't want to be that guy.
No, I mean, that's really fair. It drove that.
It was a cultural phenomenon. Kendrick Lamar's album was unbelievable. But personally, I do not think it was like that good of a storyline. It was a fantastic movie altogether, put all the parts together. But like, I didn't think Killmonger really had the weight that like people see he does. And it could have been more, but it was still fantastic. Chadwick Boseman killed it. Like it was awesome. I'm just saying that people give it a lot more praise because of the cultural fact to it. With that being said, this trailer was, and actually one more thing, I was really hoping that like during the time that there was going to be like where a white kid wore a Black Panther costume to school, and it was like someone would freak out and be like, it's like, dude, just calm down. But anyway, it never happened, thank God. But this trailer was fucking amazing. Personally, I love Chadwick Boseman and anything he did. He was fantastic. Like he's Jackie Robinson. He's fucking the musical guy. I forgot his name. James Brown. He's James to me. Like he's fantastic. Yeah. This did so much justice to him. I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see how they explain his passing in the movie. because it's one, like, just being literal. It's very hard to explain how a person with the superhuman abilities to, you know, block all the diseases and whatnot in the movie dies. So that's got to be an epic story that I hope that they like really like give it its time. Like, please tell me what happened in the right way. And then that funeral scene, which I assume is the white, where they're all dancing in white.
Yeah, I think so too.
I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be awesome. Like, and then like the only lines they use is from Queen Mother, and like that hits home so hard because she's right. Like, she's lost her husband, she's lost all of her protectors, like she's given everything for it, and she's like, what do you want more from me? I am gonna be on the record saying now that I am gonna be Riri Williams' #1 fan. Her name is her actress's name is Dominique Thorne. I am gonna be her biggest fan right now. I can already
calling it
now, and I just looked her age up. She's 25, so I'm completely in the right in saying this. Like, she looked awesome, so hot. And then she's just like with the Iron Man, like doing the Iron Man hammer down, like he did in Iron Man 1 with the heart falling on the floor, was insane too as well. And then last but not least, Namor and Atlantis. It looks awesome, and it's good too because they obviously, like, one of the first things they had to do, like in the writing room, was like, well, James Wan basically took, and Wakanda basically took, like, the foreign technologically advanced nation that could have been Atlantis, and they just went the complete opposite way. They went very primal and like Polynesian, like with all like the headdresses and the sharks and like the blue, like, you know, they went very natural with Atlantis, and I am super excited to see how that goes.
Yeah.
So, and this is how you get mutants. This is
I guess it's another way. Yeah.
Namor is a mutant, so this is how you get your mutants into the MCU subtly. Yeah. But I'm super excited. I can't see the conflict though, and I didn't know Wakanda had so much shoreline. I thought they were in the middle. I thought they were in the middle of Africa. I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like
expanded.
Yeah, they've expanded. Exposition that they'll explain, I guess.
Yeah, your earlier point, because the first movie made $1.3 billion worldwide, but it was a cultural phenomenon. And, you know, I'm not saying that this is the end all be all, but it's the only MCU movie my mom has seen for that exact reason.
Exactly.
It was such an important thing to see. Like, I mean, you know, you had a predominantly African-American cast leading a major tentpole release like this. When studios were telling them constantly, like, movies with a predominantly black cast cannot sell well overseas. They don't make any money globally. And I think they were like, we got to prove them wrong. And they did. I kind of wonder if this new one can top that or match it. I guess it'll all come down to like the quality as far as how much money it makes.
It's got to turn into something that's not Wonder Woman 2. I mean, Wonder Woman was a phenomenon, and then like that made over $1 billion, and then the second one didn't. So hopefully this one will continue the trend of being as successful as its predecessor.
And not only the money part, it has to deal with like the fact that it got like Oscar nominations too. Like it kind of had that award season stuff going with it. Like,
but that's where I'm saying like the cultural phenomenon really pushed.
So they only nominated it because it was
100%. Dude, dude, Marvel 100% thought they were gonna nab an Oscar for Black Panther.
Here's what I'll say.
It stripped away the cultural phenomenon. If you had Blade as a previous movie in the MCU with a predominantly African American cast, I would argue that Black Panther would do a very good 900 mil, but it wouldn't get the Oscars because there would be the cultural phenomenon. But the cultural phenomenon is in addition to it, so you have to take it into account. All I'm just saying, it was such a huge phenomenon. That's why it got so many things.
Yeah, but I would say though that the wins for best costume design, best original score, and best production design were deserved. It wasn't like they were pity Oscars. I mean, the best picture nomination might have been like oh, look at us, like, you know.
No, yeah,
exactly. we're part of the moment, like, you know, like, I agree with you. I think Kevin Feige thought they were going to win Best Picture. I think there was hope. I think there was hope, and even I was like, no. They were like, we'll give you your nominations, but you're not taking. You're not taking.
There's literally no way you're winning this movie, bud. There's no way.
I mean, it did win. It did win the SAG Award for Best Ensemble, though. I thought that was cool. I mean, that's
fantastic, dude. There's one, like you said before. There's one white guy. Like just one.
Martin Freeman got to be up there. Martin Freeman, yeah, he got to be up there. Like, I got my award.
Martin Freeman, literally one white guy. So like they strung to it. They held true to it.
Yeah.
But definitely excited about it. I have no idea like what the conflict could be between Atlantis and Wakanda.
Yeah. Is this in the comic books? I'm not really sure.
I think it is, because at one point he was a villain to him. Namor was a villain to Black Panther, but then turned into a hero because, you know, whatever. But very interested to see where it was. I didn't read any actual like synopsis, but I think they just really laid heavy into knowing that Chadwick's not going to be in this, and they wanted to do that right by it. And just it was like, I might watch it again later because it's that good. It made me feel good. And then all of a sudden you go from everybody's gonna be all right to we gonna be all right.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, we're back, baby. We're back. We're good. All right, we're good. We're gonna get another fire album.
A black person cut that trailer. I don't know. I mean, probably.
That was real. Like, I was like, oh, Kendrick's back. All right, this is gonna be dope. And then only thing I want to put to bed right now, this one like hope for fans. Killmonger's not coming back, people. He's dead.
Yeah, people are holding on to that. I mean, I think it's just a Michael B. Jordan thing. Like, it's a
Michael B. Jordan thing for sure.
It's like he's dead. He wasn't a good. Again, like people say, he was like a really good, like one of the top villains in the MCU. I argue differently. He was like just very thin, very angry kid. Somehow got taken the throne, like because of African culture, like in a win and all that stuff. Like, very thin in my opinion, and it was like king for a day, like literally didn't do anything. You just for a day. So I digress.
Well, we shall know everything when the movie opens on November 11th of this year, which I think is like a week or two within the first year that we've been doing Back to the Blockbuster, which is because we started in November when House of Gucci, around when that was opening, last year, crazy. So that's something to look forward to. There were also trailers there was a second trailer for She-Hulk Attorney at Law. The CGI does look better. You can tell they put
that one got me more excited for it than the previous one.
Yeah, and I thought that was really good. Yeah, it was handled well. And
I think they changed the name of it. Was it always Attorney at Law?
Yeah, no, it was always She-Hulk Attorney at Law, because they're really like.
For some reason, I liked it better. I liked it better the second time reading. I'm like, I kind of like that. You know, that's fun.
They're really pushing the whole like sitcom-y part of it, like She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Like, it's supposed to be kind of a funny show, which I hope they can pull off. But yeah, I thought this trailer was much better. Like, a vast improvement over. Like, don't put a trailer out unless like the effects are all done. I mean, like, but yeah, that one was well received.
And then you get to see I don't know why everyone's like freaking out about the red and yellow Charlie Cox Daredevil suit. Like, it's definitely not my favorite color combo.
It might be a fan favorite. I don't know.
No, I know it's definitely. I think they're just excited to see another combo, but like that's definitely personally not my like favorite. I also just don't understand like red and yellow in the dark. You know what I'm saying?
He's not thinking it through. He is blind.
No, but like also it's like, God damn it, Feige, just give me all of him. Don't just show me his gauntlets and the batons. Even though his like beefed, his suit looks like fucking real tactical. So I'm excited about that. But just show them all, please.
Do you think at this point, like within these phases, are we getting Jessica Jones back, Luke Cage?
Yeah, no, we are.
The Punisher, not Iron Fist.
In Echo, it's reported that Charlie Cox is looking for Jessica Jones.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who Jessica Jones is. I don't want it to be
Kristen Ritter. You don't want it to be her?
I think She's just awkward. Like, it's little things for me. She's very awkward when she punches. Like, it doesn't look like a real punch.
You pay attention to that all the time. It's hilarious.
Yes, because I would. Absolutely, I'm going to pay attention to that.
You know, she's not really a superhero. She's an actress.
She's playing a superhero.
You gotta make it look like she is.
Yeah, make it look like she is. Like, gosh, come on. Yeah, no, I think in Echo. So, like you said, like we said before, he's being used in a lot. So, definitely interested to see what he's gonna do in She-Hulk.
Yeah,
because I don't know who the villains are. I think it's the Thing. Like, the Thing gets out, but like, how is Charlie Cox help with the Thing? Yeah, I just don't know what he's doing in there yet. But he's gonna be sweet in Echo, because that's more, martial arts, kung fu, fighting stuff. So be more wheelhouse, I think. And then, was there any other Marvel trailers? Is that it?
No, I think that was it. I mean, I was just gonna put a bullet on, like, there was, not to talk about them too long, but there was stuff that looked interesting. Like, I've never read Neil Gaiman's The Sandman that they're adapting for Netflix, but that trailer looks really good. And I've never read the source material, but I think the show looks pretty decent. The trailer they showed was pretty excellent. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but I did like the trailer they showed at Comic-Con, and it got a huge applause. I felt bad though, because that room was packed for that, and then Walking Dead was next, and then it emptied out. And like, it wasn't like, it was like half the room left. And Walking Dead used to like own that room for a really long time. And this was like, the final season of it, and it's just crazy that they couldn't fill up the room for that.
It's fizzled. It's definitely fizzled.
But they announced some like limited series with Norman Reedus and
and Rick Grimes.
Yeah. So like, it's not gonna stop.
It literally will never. Like I said, like, the reason I stopped watching Walking Dead, like, in season 3, like after the baby got eaten, spoiler alert, was because someone said to me that The Walking Dead is a never-ending. It's literally a never-ending show. You can just, because I'm like, wait, they're basically starting from zero. There's always going to be zombies around, and they can just move from town to town, and there's always going to be a conflict. I'm like, oh fuck, I can't do this. So I just stopped watching after a while. Like, it's never-ending. It's never-ending.
Yeah, and you would think it'd be in my wheelhouse because I love horror stuff, and I've never.
Yeah,
like, I think I've only watched like 1 or 2 episodes.
The first 2 seasons are fucking fantastic.
They're amazing. Yeah, I remember the first bit was just awesome. I was hanging on every word, but now it's just like I haven't. I mean, Jack, I think I stopped after season 3 too. I just couldn't get into it.
Once you got out of the prison, I'm like, dude, all right. So you're telling me zombies can overtake a fucking fortified structure? And then someone else said like the real villains of the show are the humans, and I'm like, all right, well,
that's technically true.
No, it is, but like, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised. Just, it's never gonna end. But what I do want to talk about, and I'm really upset that this is like was not talked about more on trades or anywhere. John Wick 4. Like, let's
let me tell you why. And they dropped that trailer really weird. Like, it.
Did they have a panel or anything today?
So there was so there Collider did a directors on directing panel with the director of the movie. So it wasn't really like a formal like, oh, we're gonna introduce a John Wick trailer. They released a still from the movie like a couple of days before. They released that like Comic-Con poster, but they didn't hint at like anything else. And then they randomly dropped the trailer like right after it premiered at that panel. And there weren't a lot of people at that panel. I didn't go to it, but our editor-in-chief went, and he said it wasn't full. So it wasn't like if they would have promoted it as like a John Wick like trailer drop or something, there Keanu Reeves might have been there, it would have had more fanfare. It was just the way they did it. I think they kind of made it more lukewarm, but I still thought it was cool. It was a cool teaser.
Keanu Reeves is going to draw a crowd.
No, yeah, I think like John Wick does not get the appreciation it does in this day and age. It literally it turned into a fucking worldwide phenomenon trilogy off of like one movie where the dude unimaginably kills like over 200 people like with perfect headshots like all the time. And people were just like, you know what? You got to appreciate how fucking absurd and awesome this is. But then underneath it, they made this awesome web of a subworld of assassins and currency
So
and like
cool.
if you see Owen's face, he's just like it's so fucking awesome. Like you
It's
can't
so cool.
exactly. So like I'm so upset that like because they also have another show Continental coming out that's
with
filming.
and then Anna de Armas on one of these. She's on the ballerina show.
And then
that's
she's in the female version of John Wick with ballerina. So I'm like, they're starting a whole like world, and it's gonna be fucking sick, and it's really not getting the shine it deserves. And you know me, I hate teasers. Like that was a good teaser. Like, okay, I have no idea what's going on. All I know is that like, the players are Bill Skarsgård's in it, and he looks fantastic as like one of the high table bad guys. So, I mean, they're going to like 7 different countries too. So like, I'm a little upset that like this wasn't like who makes this Universal makes this.
Let me look.
Like, I'm a little upset that whatever studio like didn't like promote this more because like Keanu. Like,
it's Lionsgate.
Oh yeah, Lionsgate. Like Lionsgate, what are you doing, man? Like you got Keanu. Like, guys, fire right now.
You know what's crazy that this universe was built on a first movie that only made like $86 million worldwide. This is all based on like it doing okay in theaters, and then it became like a big cult hit. Like when it came out on
John Wick 2. I think John Wick 2 was like the fire starter for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's when they realized they're like, oh, this is like a big thing now. And
the second one is unbelievably good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Unreal. But then also it's like they had like low they still treated themselves as a low level movie. Like their Common was in it. Like when Common's in a movie, you know they need a low level, good looking black guy.
When they're shooting each other, like when Keanu Reeves is like on the balcony and they're shooting each other, and like they have silencers, but no one notices that they're just firing like an entire clip of handgun rounds at each other.
Yeah, no, when they're
with their suits, I'm like, all right, let's go.
They're in the New York City subway terminal, like the new one that was just made under the Sears the fucking Freedom Tower, and they're just like. It's like actually so absurd, but I fucking love it. And just to think now that like every bum in New York City is an assassin, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, there was a breakdown of like his accuracy, like his rating and his kill shot, like his how many bullets whatever it is, and the only misses that he really has is when he's shooting at Common, and like his percentage goes down to like 94% or something. But out of all the bullets that he shoots, like those are the only ones he misses.
Like the reason like I love John Wick is like for the reason like I always point out in the movie, it's like, damn, my gun's out. There's a dead guy right next to me with a full gun. You never pick it up, but in a real life situation, like John Wick picks up guns. He like literally just does whatever, like real, and that's what I really appreciate about like movie making. Like make sure like those little details of like, oh, there's a full semi-automatic gun right next to me after my 9mm is gone. Let me use that now. So
well, I also think that in any other movie, the short sort of not even really one-liners, but just like his very monotone responses, I would have kind of rolled my eyes at. But anytime he even says anything in any of the movies, Keanu's just his delivery is fucking perfect. Just it's slow, just like yeah. And I'm like, let's go.
Or how like literally everyone's like, thank you, Mr. Wick. Yeah. you're just like, dude, you just shot the Asian doctor in the clavicle and in the floating kidney, and he says thank you. Like I love that mystique about him too. It's like everyone respects him because he's a nice person who kills people, but he's also like fantastic at his job. But like, thank you, Mr. Wick. And it's like I love that like aura about the whole entire thing. And they explain in this movie that apparently that like they'll go into a lot of like his past and stuff because like a lot of the stuff apparently like indirectly helped the high table and whatnot, stuff like that. So super excited about John Wick. Like, and then I just wish they could have made a sweet panel of like the Continental breakdown for the TV show. If you brought out Ana de Armas for this,
I'm there.
Exactly, yeah. So and then Keanu too. So I think they really dropped the ball on that one, but I'm still super excited for it. I have no idea when Ballerina starts filming, but I know it's like a go.
Yeah, it is a go. She was talking about it when she was promoting the Gray Man.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Wait, do we have anything to talk more about Comic-Con?
Not really. I mean, like Dungeons and Dragons had a trailer. It looks better than I thought it was going to be. It doesn't look horrible. It's Michelle Rodriguez, Chris Pine.
Yeah, I saw
and
it.
Hugh Grant.
I just didn't get it because I have no idea the lore of Dungeons and Dragons.
And I would be remiss as a Buffy fan not to say that Sarah Michelle Gellar is coming back to TV on the Teen Wolf spinoff.
I saw that.
Teen Wolf. I wasn't there on Thursday. That happened Thursday. A friend of mine was in that room though, and he said the crowd went crazy for her, and it just proves that nerds go crazy for their certain idols in that little genre of like TV and filmmaking. Like she could only do Buffy forever, and she will be forever loved for that one show. And like people just want to see her do more. So like she's executive producing it as well. So she's also a bit in charge. So that's cool. And then just the overall experience of the Comic-Con stuff, I brought it up earlier. It was exciting to be back. Going on the convention floor is always fun. The camaraderie is fun. I hung out with like people I met when I first went in 2017. Like we met up again after not hanging out, of course, because of COVID and everything.
So cool.
So that was really fun. And
Stranger Things cosplay, the one where the guy's like, like that was insane,
ridiculous. Some of them, like there was some guy dressed up as Leonardo from Ninja Turtles, like from like the first movie, and it was like a legit like Ninja Turtle costume. All that stuff was really cool. There was a lot of like complaining about like they would schedule to go into a room for a panel or for exclusive at like, oh, like doors open at 9:30 a.m. and then it's 9:30, 9:45, 10, 11. Doors still aren't open. And you have a bunch of impatient people who, of course, have a schedule because they want to go watch other stuff, but they're waiting to do this. So there was a lot of that for the Friday and Saturday and some of Sunday that we were there. And there was also a lot of confusion with the Hall H line. So there's different ones for like Thursday, Friday, Saturday about where they start. And, you know, I won't say there were like fights, but there were a lot of like there was a lot of people getting angry at security for not understanding what was going on. Like some people complained that it was disorganized and you had a bit of a gap to figure this out. Why did you guys figure this out more? But it's also like first year jitters back. I don't know. So it was hard for me to gauge them on. I didn't want to like be that judgmental of how things were handled. I think for the most part, things went well for bringing it back. And, you know, that whole area of San Diego, Gaslamp and all that, is just alive for that all those restaurants, all those bars. They turn themselves into like venues that cater to the Comic-Con crowd. And It was insanely busy down there. Next year will be fun. Like I know for sure that we talked about it when we left. There's not going to be any discussion about like if we should go. Cause I think there was a lot of discussion about because we didn't know how big it would be after the gap. But now they know that it can be a big thing again. So I think like talking now on this episode that we're recording it, that I'm going to figure out a way for all three of us to go. So you guys can all kind of experience it, whether it's like for 2 days or all four is a commitment, but like, it's still like a fun experience to have.
Yeah. I'd love to go.
Oh yeah. Playlist. Hook it up, guys.
Arjo though, when do you guys?
We'll business time, but if we get to we'll need to talk to me. Like if we get to a certain number of subscribers or something like that,
that's the Comic-Con.
We're going to Comic-Con next year.
Well, we got it. Circling it right now.
Quantum Mania got leaked online.
Oh, is it all blurry?
It's like like a down angle, like up from here.
Oh,
but you get to see Kang and Scott talk. So I'm gonna watch that after this.
Of course you are. And I just want to quickly say, like we did our box office predictions last week. We were all wrong about Nope. It made $44.4 million over the weekend. I think I said 65. You lowballed it. You said 58, right? You said 58.
I did.
I think
in the middle at 60.
You're 60. You know what? I saw it. I liked it a lot. But I could tell when we left
aliens.
It's not exactly that.
Oh, I'm out.
It's like,
I'm out.
I think the issue is that it really isn't what you're expecting it to be, and that's what I really liked about it. But I will say this: when I left the theater, there were a mix of people like me who loved it, and then there was a quarter of the theater who were confused by it, and then people that downright hated it. It got a B cinema score. It got a B cinema score, so that kind of shows you it's a little bit more mixed than normal. But I will say this: $44 million. It's the biggest opening for an original IP non-sequel since his last film, Us, which was $71 million in 2019. And that just goes to show you how much there's not a lot of original IP out there. Because just below that was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at $41 million when it opened. So there's not a ton.
Well, I mean, okay. I know Owen said in the chat we'll talk about Gray Man next week. Fair enough. But I will say to your point of like not a lot of original ideas, I think that's such BS because, dude, there's so many fucking books out there. So you're telling me that the same people who write books can't like write a movie or something like that? I just feel like there's so many legal issues when it comes to like using a book as IP, or like the stigma of like, oh, we're copying a book, that we get stuck in this argument of like there's no original ideas anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like I'm
I
not
think
saying
the
you're wrong or I'm not saying you're wrong or I'm right.
I think that's
I think that's the problem. Like what I'm saying is that studios rely more on sequels and comic book adaptations because they are guaranteed to make money.
100%.
Yeah, and even if this movie has like a big drop off this week, like it'll still make a decent amount of money to turn a profit. It's just lower than people were expecting. Variety didn't even want to write that it underperformed. They were like, no, it's still a win for original IP at the box office. Like, you know, they basically said it's our own fault for having bloated expectations because of what he has been delivering to us before. As far as like, you know, Us opened to $71 million and no one saw that coming, even with Get Out being as good as it was. But this is still a guy that's opening movies in the double digits and turning a profit off of them. So so even if you're making a movie that like there were some M. Night. So remember last week when I said the positive reactions were it's like M. Night Shyamalan, but when he was good. Mm-hmm. Now that reaction is turning into, oh, he's like M. Night Shyamalan when he was starting to get kind of bad. There are like people that feel like I think the idea of the movie is just so I think the idea is so far out the box for some people. And I could tell that while I was watching it. But I think if you just kind of open your mind a little bit, like I thought it was well made at least too. I think as a filmmaker, I think it's his best movie technically from a technical span.
Okay, well, I'll give him kudos to that. But like I think I think me and Owen both said it before. It's like don't make me think of like social commentary as like do I have to just decipher the
Yeah, and there's some in it. I won't give it away, but there's like two key subplots. Like if you were just looking at the movie straightforward, you'd be like, why is this in there? But then if you look at it deeper, you're like, oh, I see why this is in there because this is what he's trying to say about this. So like, and that's exactly what you did want.
Give me aliens; they're cool.
But yeah, big win for original IP though. Like even if it did open lower than expectations,
big wins for Jordan Peele.
But yeah, I think that's a wrap. That was a really heavy on the info episode, but there was a lot to talk about, and I'm glad we got it all in. I think we covered all the important stuff from Comic-Con that I could think of.
I think so.
Hopefully, I hope, you know, DC announce DC fandom soon, even if you weren't planning on it. Throw something together.
Please.
Because you really need it. And Marvel keep on being great. I mean, I can't like D23 that I don't even know they even have to try anymore. They're just like, yo, like a title card. There you go. You're gonna watch it anyway. But yeah, hoping for the best. I don't completely want to give up on them yet. I know we talk a lot of crap on them on the podcast. We talk about them a lot. But I think we all hope for them to be better. I don't think we all want them to fail.
Just
to
show
so much that we want to see them succeed.
Yeah, it's like basically what's going on right now is that if we were defending a castle, which is DC, Gaius and Owen are standing up top of this nice, beautiful stone wall, like looking out with like a bow and arrow ready to go. I somehow fell off that wall, and I'm directly on the battlefield with my back against a 20-foot wall, and I just see all of Marvel coming at me.
All their content.
All I have is a water gun to fight all of it back. So please help me out here, guys. If they shadow drop these trailers, I'd be happy. That'd be a cool story. But fuck, whatever.
Oh god. On that note, that's a good one to end it on. Before I send Owen to sign it off, I wanted to say again, I checked again today. You guys will be hearing this episode on Thursday. We are still number 4 on the film reviews on Good Pods, and we moved up to number 7 for all film and TV reviews on Good Pods, and that is out of 100 shows. So thank you for supporting us. It's not just about supporting us on like one platform or the other. Like, it's cool that you get to listen to it on a bunch of different platforms, but that one has been really good for us in addition to Apple Podcasts. So thank you guys for listening there as well.
Awesome.
Did we get any new reviews or likes on Apple?
I haven't looked.
That'd be great. I always love it. At least one. At least hopefully someone's doing the homework, eh?
I know people are definitely rating it. I'm just not getting
ratings. Good, baby. That's all we want. That's all you need, baby. Get that.
Yeah, we went up 2 5-star ratings.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
So that's good.
Thank you, people.
Like, we'll take the 5 stars. We don't necessarily need a full review. That's good.
We will.
Exactly.
Thank you guys so much. That's awesome.
All right, well, with that being said, guys, just want to give a huge shout out to Playlist. They've just continued to be a great partner in everything that we're doing. And also big shout out to Gaius. I mean, we wouldn't have had to have this conversation about Comic-Con able to get. So just so awesome that you're able to go and experience that, and we got to see all the cool pictures and all your stories and see how much fun you had there, and then be able to talk about it. So please keep listening, guys. It's been so much fun to just continue to do this. I like to listen on Spotify. You guys can listen anywhere, whether or not it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can check us out on YouTube and see us laughing and Jack looking like an idiot with his new golf hat. But it is sick. Yeah, just like please continue to keep listening to us and rating us good on Good Pods. We sincerely appreciate everything you guys are doing. I mean, this content is not just for us to have fun and mess around and shoot the shit, but to make stuff for you guys. So please keep listening, and we thank you guys so much. And without further ado, Jack.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for getting into it. We're recording on a Monday, but you'll hear this on Thursday. So here's your Thursday homework. Like, rate, subscribe, tell somebody else, tell your mother, tell your father, tell your sister, and then tell your brother about the podcast. We want to know everybody's feelings on it. Give us a rating. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you don't want to hear. Give me compliments on the sweet hat that Owen just out of the blue called me out for. And as always, people, we appreciate you guys listening to us. Like, subscribe. We want that algorithm on our side. And then that's really all I got today, boys. Have a good day, and I'll see you later this week.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Peace.